Well, we are back again. Oh, I just walked here 3.5 miles just so I could do this episode for the Main Street Randyland YouTube channel. It's fun to walk and it's not a bad day, but I should have brought my bike. If I had, I don't get to do much bike riding in Wildwood. A lot of people really do enjoy riding down here, and the reason they do is because it's flat. There's no better place to ride your bike than a flat area. When we were kids, we did it all the time. I mean, we always brought our bikes from home down to our shore house, and we rode around because we lived in Short Hills, New Jersey. And the terrain kind of goes along with the name, Short Hills. It was hills everywhere, up and down and up and down. And riding a bike was quite a challenge in Short Hills. So it was fun to bring your bikes down to the shore because it's all flat. Now, when I was in grammar school, the cool bike of the era was the Schwin Stingray. You've all seen them with that little wheel in the front and the slick wheel in the back. They had some models that, weren't as elaborate, but they came in different colors. You had the yellow one, was the lemon crate, right? And you had the green one was the lime crate. I had the orange one. So it was the orange crate. That's what they called them, the orange crate. And I rode to school, not too often because I lived a block and a half away from Hartshorn Elementary School. But when I was in 4th grade, I got my orange crate and we would drive from 385 Hartshorn Drive over to Hartshorn School, just down Falmouth Street and right on into the back lot. And they had to park the bike with the chain in the bike rack and hope that some hooligan wouldn't try to steal it. But so here is my orange crate. That's the reason I can't ride it to come over here and I gotta walk, because my orange crate is hanging from the ceiling. Now that's a Schwinn. Oh look, Hartshorn Elementary School. You see, that's what the stars do. They iconicize the different places from my life. And the bike goes back to Hartshorn School. And if you look on the other side, I have another star on this side, and of course that says 385 Hartshorn Drive, Short Hills, New Jersey, 07078, because that's the address that I had when I was a kid. Now this bike, I got it, I think it was a Christmas present, if I'm not mistaken. It could have been a birthday present, and it was a lot of money, even back then. It's a Schwinn. Schwinn was the Cadillac of bikes. And the whole thing with the Schwin Stingray was the small wheel in front and the bigger wheel in the back, and the back wheel had a flat bottom, which was like a slick tire and wide. So everybody who was the cool kid had to have the Stingray. Well, guess what? It's a 5-speed. You see the shifter kind of in the middle there, just below the handles, like where your legs would go across. That's the shifter where you'd shift your gears. And the gears would all shift on the rear wheel. And you had your banana seat. You see the curved banana seat there? And mine is orange with a silver streak going down the middle of it. And they also made it the other direction. They made it a silver seat with an orange streak going down the middle of it. And the seats were custom to coordinate with the color of the bike. And orange was my favorite color, so you have your orange crate. Now, you see the light on the front. That was an add-on. It didn't come with that. It had handbrakes, of course, but also in the back, just below the seat, you'll see a rectangular, thin contraption, and if you see it from the back, you will see that it has an arrow pointing in each direction, and that was a directional light where you could actually flip the switch and it would blink going to the right, blink going to the left, because I had to have the best. And that had a little light switch right on the handlebar that you could turn the switch on, going to the right, going to the left. It even had a generator. You see on the wheel there, that funny looking, kind of wide on the bottom and thin on the top. That's a generator to generate your power for your lights. And you could engage it or disengage it by flipping a little release latch on the mechanism that's spring loaded, and if you flipped it in, it would flop its way down to the tire, and the wheel on the top would then rotate with the tire as the tire was going, and it would generate power to run your lights. The problem with the generator was it put drag on your pedaling. So it made it harder to pedal because now you got this generator, it's pulling down on you. And so a lot of times you didn't want it. Below the generator, you see that little round thing there? That's a rear light that would light up along with the front light that would go tied in with your generator. And of course, look, there's even my green locking chain. You see the locking chain going around it? And those side saddle baskets. That was an add-on. And of course, I had to have side saddle baskets to carry my books to school, one on each side, just like a cowboy would have on his horse. These are shock absorbers. You see one on each side there? The seat actually goes into those shock absorbers. They're spring-loaded, so when you bounce on the, the different, rough terrain, your seat would take all the shocks. Very, very expensive bike. And you see in the front, you see that looks like a ray gun there with a kind of spirally thing? That is a big spring that is a shock absorber for the front wheel assembly. So if you hit anything with that, the shock would be taken by the spring and you had a smooth ride on the Schwinn Orange Krate. Now, I have had people look in my window, see the Schwinn Orange Krate, and they want to buy it. And I love when people knock on your door and they wave at you. They knock it, they see, and they're like, wait, because you always know that they want to do something for you. You see? Because they're knocking and they're waving at you. They want to do something for you. So you go over and you answer, and how can I help you? Oh, what stuff is really cool in there? You want to sell that bike? Yeah, I want to sell it. That's why it's hanging there. That's why I spent all the time drilling eye hooks on the ceiling so that I could have support to hang it there because I wanted to sell it, you see? So, sometimes if I, just wasting my time, I'll say, well, what would you like to pay for it? Oh, I'll give you $50. Can you imagine the crust and the gall of people? I mean, I spoke about this one other time about somebody in the arcade that really, really kind of shocked me with his nerve. It's called gall. The gall that some people have to bother you with their nonsense because they're looking for some sap to not know what something is worth and say, oh, sure, I'll sell it for $50 and put the money in their pocket, and then I won't even buy them dinner. It's so ridiculous. How could you replace memories from your childhood for something like that? Do you know the spring on that front shock absorber is worth probably $100 or $2 if you were going to buy one, just a replacement on the thing? So this is what you got. And I remember riding my Orange Krate in the house, around the living room, in the foyer, up the hallway, turn around, come back down the hallway, because I couldn't wait to get out and ride my Orange Krate. It was probably Christmas, so it was probably snow on the ground. I couldn't go outside, so I had to ride it around inside, and I loved my Orange Krate. And I still love my Orange Krate, but I don't get to drive it. I don't get to ride it. Why? Because it's hanging on my ceiling. And you know what? The funny thing is, my sister ended up with a 10-speed. At the same time, I got my Orange Krate. The Orange Krate was cool. I had to have the Orange Krate. But the 10-speed, also a Schwinn, was far easier to pedal. Believe it or not. You don't realize this as a kid, you look at it like, wow, that's the cool bike I want. My sister's bike was so much easier to ride. And we used to go riding around town just for fun on a nice Saturday afternoon, whatever. We go riding around, me and my sister. She was 2.5 years older, so she was longer legs at the time. I was a little randy. And I couldn't keep up because that little wheel in the front makes it hard. It's too hard to pedal to begin with. So you're going up and down the hills and short hills, and she was, way ahead of me all the time, and I'm trying to catch up. Eventually, I had to get a 10-speed also. So the Orange Krate didn't get that many years of me actually riding it, because probably 2 or 3 years later, I had to have the Schwinn 10-speed. And of course, it was orange, just like my Orange Krate. And that bike was so much easier to pedal, and I rode that all over the place in Lavalette and Seaside, and even to school, whatever. I didn't go to grammar school at that time. By this point, I would have been in junior high, and that was too far for a bike. We took the bus, or Mom and Dad drove us. So with that, we'll see you next time for the next fun-filled episode. Press the subscribe and the, what's that button, what they call with notifications? Cling, push it. See you next time. Bye. I love my bike.